fell in love like everybody else. Although some people say that she's the flavor of the month, I think she's the flavor of my heart forever. That's a little tacky, but I guess you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Lady Dimitrescu. And before you try to say, hey, that's Dimitrescu, ain't how she said it in the game.
The entire bloodline of House Dimitrescu is done in by the likes of you?
I love everything about her. From the sexy way that she sucks the blood from Ethan's hands, the coy little smile she has when she's leaving you, and even the way she enters a room just commands presence and power with her. She's the perfect package of sexy and class without overdoing it, and I praise the creators who made her. Really, I want to say she's the new queen of Resident Evil, and I dare them to make someone even better than she can. But even though she's all of these things combined, what I love the most about her is her dress. From the moment I saw it, I fell in love with it. I didn't even notice her makeup or her height or anything. I was just looking at all that fabric and design, and I said, man, I gotta have it. I have to make this a marvelous designer. Of course, I didn't make it, but I did end up tailoring it to one of my avatars, a Finfan cat. Now, I know those two really don't go together at all, but I've been wearing the Finfan cat for a second now, and I've fallen in love with it, and I just thought it would be funny to have a little version of a giant woman in an elegant dress. So here's my process and what I did to create this look, and I hope you guys like it and see how it turned out at the end. Well, I guess you already did. I have the preview right here, so maybe you want to see the process. First thing, I had already scaled down her dress from the original model, and the next step was just adjusting the arms, stretching them out and adjusting them to where the cat's arms were. Because I made this avatar back when I had first started getting into making and rigging avatars, I kind of rigged it wrong. So the arms aren't exactly in a perfect T. They're really off center, which is traditional and kind of typical of avatars that I make where nothing is symmetrical. I didn't know about the mirror modifier or the snap to symmetry back then, so I just really just eyeballed everything and tried to get it in. Another thing, I guess you can say, a disadvantage of this avatar versus a regular avatar modeling is that the legs go backwards. I have no idea what that chime just was, but the legs go back, and that's kind of difficult when you're trying to position the front of the dress against the legs. So I had some problems right there. I wasn't really paying attention too much. I was just trying to get the front of the dress to align across the body, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go for this kind of I don't even think what letter this would be, a S or a Z, so where it would go against the legs and kind of there. But then I decided that it was a pretty bad idea, and I want to keep it as close to the original dress as possible. So I started pulling it out here and trying to make it look right, because even if we just get it in the right position, if the lines aren't straight or they looked warped, then it really wrecks the illusion of the dress. So here, when I was working on it, it looked a little asymmetrical, like to the max. And I was just swinging it around trying to figure out what to do. So I started looking at the original, and I was getting a little frustrated because I couldn't figure out, should I have the bottom of the skirt going against the legs or not? So just kind of like, all right, we'll take a break real quick and I'll just work on something else, something simple like the accessories. When I got to this part, I was actually really surprised that they put a back under the corsage. The flower thingy that's on her chest. I was kind of shocked that they put a back underneath that because nobody would see it, but they did it because I guess they wanted to make it really realistic. The necklace she has here I thought was really, really beautiful, and after I finished this one, I just saved it and I planned on 3D printing it out and wearing it about. I just don't know if I'm going to use the traditional FDM. That's what you call filament extraction, or am I going to use, resin, like resin slab printing? When I was working here, I realized that I needed to pull the base of the dress up some. A lot of it was hanging down way too much off her chest. The problem with that is because she has boobs. Like, Lady D has tatas, and the Finfan cat really doesn't. So I pondered for a good chunk of time here. Should I just modify the avatar and give her bigger boobs so that it matches Lady D? And then I thought, well, that means that I would have to put in all the scripts and stuff for it, and I didn't feel like it. Because I was like, maybe I just put it in here and it'd be great for the fancy bust. And, without really looking at it, I didn't notice that I was building this on the flattest chest in here. It wasn't even the fancy bust. I think it's just the regular bust. So it's like, oh, damn it. Oh, this is the fun part. I loved the hair. The hair, how can I say? I wasn't really great at the hair part. This isn't that great, because the shape of this character's head is not round, it's oval, and trying to stretch circles into ovals always make them look warped. So I was like, okay, so where does the base of her head end and the whiskers begin? So trying to scoot it on the head so that it matched was a problem a bit. I got this cute hairstyle, and then I realized it was a couple inches off the head, so there was a gigantic gap there later on, and I hate it because every time I tailor hair to any avatar, I always have the hair inches off of the scalp, and I think that's because it just reminds me of that anime style and how I wear my wigs. Always off my head with the hair base showing. And when the cat doesn't have a hair base, it's like, oh, dingle. The hat, I had a little bit of problem with the hat here because the ears are sticking out of it, and I didn't, again, modifications to the avatar. I didn't know if I was going to make a custom avatar where I push the ears down, or was I going to try to stretch the hat up and make it bigger. But when you move and change the hat, I feel like I know the proper term for that part of the hat, the top, the cone of the hat. You change the style of the hat altogether. So I just thought maybe some point in time I'll just make a version of the cat that does have no ears, or make it based on mesh and change it. I was actually really shocked at how well the eyebrows behaved on this part. Normally when I'm putting eyebrows on things, it just no. But I got better at tailoring eyelashes to stuff. Not eyebrows, eyelashes to things. And putting eyelashes on the avatar that didn't have eyelashes was absolutely hilarious. I just stopped and looked at it for a long time and considered making an animation of her just batting her eyelids really slow if I could. This was kind of a pain because her eyelashes went through it, and I was curious of whether or not I should again adjust the hat or fix the eyelashes. I keep having a bad time with organizing my layers. This dev kit was really badly made, and I own that. I did not do a good job with fixing this dev kit. It's because you see it. So what I was looking for was this white texture for the cat. I asked one of my friends, Reed, to make a update her skin for I want to keep calling him the blatant cat, for the Finfan cat, as well as a couple other avatars that I was working on. I looked at the pictures he sent me, and he had a lot of I want to say filters, but they weren't filters. There was just his computer rendering it, and it just looked so cute. But when I put it on there, she looks so mad, like, "Urgh," which I think actually worked out for this kind of avatar because, you know, Lady D don't care. So it just looked kind of, it fit, but at the same time, she was just a little mean. That was my fault though, so I'll have to do some more editing. At some point, I realized that I didn't like the way the hair looked, and I tried to come back and redo it and got a fresh copy of the hair, and I was tailoring it to it. Honestly, I love how long this one is, and the length of the hair with that curl at the bottom, just like this, I think is absolutely adorable, and I would have loved anything but to keep it. But I remember that we have to stick to a certain style. We gotta keep it in the character, and Lady D has very short hair. Well, her hair is long. It's just pulled up into a short style. So I had to scrap my fancies for long curly hair and make it short curly hair to keep it in with the character. Which for some reason was really difficult with this one. Not as bad as the other one, but still kind of difficult. In the end, I ended up combining the first hair with this hair, and it was like super heavy. I don't remember how much, but I do know some decimation took place. I really do like the eyes that came out with this texture. Reed does really good eyes, and it was absolutely perfect for this character. Like, I didn't modify the eye color at all. He just did a kind of dead zombie-like eye that totally fit. So it was like perfect. I still needed to make a hair base for this. I didn't do it in this run through, but when I come back in for the correction, I think I will. Let's see, what was going on here? It was time for weight painting. So when I did my weight painting, of course, I had to do a check real quick and see if this was actually on the right skeleton, because it was on a different skeleton at first, but then I did it as an OBJ. So weight painting a dress like this is kind of easy. The only thing that was going to be a challenge was the cape that she had in the back, and I was not really looking forward to that because I'm not that great at freaking capes. We have a strict no capes rules here at the Mighty Ginkgo, and oh god, I'm so bad at it. Luckily, it really did agree a lot with it, so all I had to do was the initial attachment and weight transfer. So all I had to do was a lot of just corrective weighting, not a full from scratch kind of thing. I always wiggle my avatars around like that, and my husband always dies when I do it. I don't know why he thinks it's so funny, but he does. So I always make sure that if I'm recording, I wiggle them around so when he watches it back, he can giggle at it. Now normally I would use what is it? What kind of skeletons? A template for my long skirt. I have a long pencil skirt, normal skirt that I usually use for pretty much every dress that I have except for ball gowns. But this one I decided to try and use a long dress skirt instead of a regular old maxi skirt, so that's what they call it. So you see, I just had to do some corrective weighting in just small parts, but for the most part, it all worked out. There was just this weird part right here that I don't know if I was able to fix it. I mean, it just really wasn't that bad. To be honest with you, I kind of regret using that only because I don't think that template was made for an avatar whose legs are so far apart. And of course, you know, there had this artifact that was right here. This mesh has a little I want to say this word that the guys use in the Pops auction. There's a little boo-boo in the mesh. But it was not me who did this. This was Capcom and their way of doing it to make it flex better. They used a method like when you're doing capes and stuff like that, and you got limited bones, which they didn't have because there was like a ton of bones inside of this cape. You put the arms down into like a pose, and you make the adjustments there, like when you're doing the weighting and the modeling. So sometimes you end up having to pull it out a little more in one section, and it gives this weird little what I call the boo boo, this little triangle in there. It looks weird, but when the arms are down, it's actually really nice, and you can't tell that. You know, it's like, how often does an avatar have their arms stretched up and out? They're mostly down at their sides or something. So as long as it looks good in that position, then you really don't have to stress it that much. Things like this is my favorite to rig, the hats and hair, short hair, because it's all really just one bone. So everything just goes into head, and then you're like, there you go, head done. The eyelashes were going to be like really easy because I already had a rigged head. So all I had to do for the eyelashes was copy the weights from the head to the eyelashes, and then, you know, there we go. We have our blinking eyelashes. I think there was something wrong with when I did this, is that when I came over to 7.2, I forgot to enable the eye bones in 7.9, so I had to save, go over, enable, save, and then revert and then open it back up. And then once I did that, you know, the eyelashes started to move with them, which is something that I thought was absolutely adorable. Of course, whenever you have a tail on an avatar, for some reason, Avastar will grab it and put weights there on nothing. This part is actually kind of hard for me to figure out because I knew she had a hole in the dress for her tail to compensate for that, and I really wanted to look like it was designed there. To be honest, I really dropped the ball in this part. I should have cut a hole out, and I should have embroidered it or did something to make it look nice. But in the end, this is how she came out, and I actually like it. So I hope that you like it too, and we can keep on cosplaying with the Finfan cat. So that was my first edited video. I hope you guys like it. I'm probably not going to do this again. I'm not good with this stuff. But yeah. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. Whatever you kids say on YouTube.